Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch You Want, and thanks for logging on. Today we are looking at the Panerai Luminor PAM 106, 44 millimeters in brushed titanium. This is a rarity, one of 500 made in the Panerai D series from 2001 to 2003. This model ran. This particular one of 500 D series is representative of what has to be considered a unique episode in the continuity of the Panerai Luminor Submersible, first conceived during the late 90s with the PAM 24 and the 25. From 2001 to 2004, Panerai made two running mates, if you will, first with the PAM 106 and then its sister, the PAM 170, both titanium with this brushed metallic anthracite dial that's unlike anything else Panerai ever put on a submersible. But whereas I would say the PAM 170 with its high polish treatment was a little bit more glam rock. The PAM 106 that you see here was definitely the grunge fan of the two. This one is a little bit more discreet, a little bit more judicious in its use of the gray metal. I like this look a little bit better personally, but it's not just the dial, it's not just the brushed titanium that sets the PAM 106 apart. It is this unique early Panerai bimetallic device protecting the crown themed bracelet. Now, dating back to its history as a combat dive watch manufacturer, Panerai generally employed straps of some description. The bracelet was inspired by one of the late 80s prototypes developed during the 11th hour of Panerai military construction, the so-called millimetry. That one had a bracelet, and this one has a bracelet, but that's where the comparisons end, because this one is very much the product of a modern high horology luxury watch manufacturer. You can see that not only is it bimetallic and two-tone with steel and titanium elements, but all brushed, beautifully finished, feels a treat upon the wrist, and it has this unique recurring motif echoing the famous device protecting the crown, an icon of the Panerai Luminor model, which is itself an icon of the modern Officine Panerai. So you have that little nod and a wink to the global Paneristi built right into the bracelet, and it's part of an ergonomic experience that is just superb. Now, every 44mm Panerai Luminor is a cushion case, basically, 1-to-1 aspect ratio, about as wide as it is high. So it sits lightly on the wrist and it distributes its mass nicely. Again, they got the ergonomics right back in the military times, and human evolution being relatively static over such a short period, anatomy doesn't change that much. It's still a treat to wear. But in titanium, it's so much lighter. It's almost a not there type of watch, if such a thing can be said about an oversized metal dive watch. It's really no heavier on the wrist than a 5-digit reference stainless steel 40mm Rolex Submariner on the old Oyster bracelet with the stamped clasp. It's that light, it's that much of a pleasure to wear. Moreover, the fact is the watch has one of the best double deployant, double trigger actuated clasps I've seen. This older Panerai bracelet is renowned and revered among Paneristi, first because of how well it looks, and also because of how well it fits. But you can see when it's closed, it's virtually seamless, like a bimetallic titanium dive version of the Rolex President bracelet. It really doesn't give up its game regarding where the clasp is located, so it's got a low profile on the wrist. It's less likely to get hung up on something if you do ever find yourself desk diving with the watch on. And because of the twin trigger release, the release action is smooth and secure. It opens and it closes with a satisfying little tactile snick that you can feel through your fingers, and because of the twin trigger release, there's absolutely no chance of this one popping open during vigorous activity like swimming, diving, wakeboarding, surfing, or what have you. It's a versatile look, and with the bracelet, it pairs well with any kind of suit that might be worn in an office that's already accustomed to, for instance, any Rolex sports watch on a bracelet. So the combination of this bracelet, which feels as good as it looks, and the cushion case in titanium makes for a pleasurable experience on the wrist. But it is the dial that defines the PAM 106. Brushed anthracite, it's got a very subtle vertical striation to it. The grain runs from 6 to 12 and 12 to 6. There are a lot of unique elements here that set this one apart. First of all, there's that color. It blends into the titanium, and it's almost perfectly color keyed to the titanium, making it one of the few Panerai models of any description featuring a dial that's almost the same color as the case and the bracelet. Really, in terms of the way this integrates chromatically, it's almost like an Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, in that one element seems to be related to the other and flow seamlessly into it. But it's got that chunky, easily legible Panerai day or night visibility to it. The bottom line is this is the dot index tritiumed dial. So you've got something that can only be read as a luminor, but the degrees of difference, the late use of tritium, again, Panerai started transitioning away from that in 1998. This watch being made in 2001 was part of the tail end of the tritium era at Panerai. The fact that this is not the stick index sandwich dial, nor is it the full Arabic numeral or stick index sausage dial, rather it's the sausage dot index dial, uncommonly seen. Pair it with the tritium patina that this one has developed, the skeletonized hands, and the anthracite dial base, and you have a look that's virtually one of a kind, unique to this model and its PAM 170 sister. Also because no two tritium patinas are the same, the fact that this one is even and the original milky green is starting to fade to almost an ecru really enhances the beauty of this PAM 106. The metallic element is one part, but the patina is co-equally the second part that really makes the experience. Other great attention to detail is evident in this cutout second subdial at 9 o'clock, because not only is it legible in its own right, but it's sunken in to add an extra element of texture to the dial, and then very subtly, concentric circular guilloche radiates out from the pinion mounting the hand, so even within that sunken separate visual element, there is a texture that's every inch as subtle but also as beautiful as the graining of the dial itself. And of course the date wheel, present and practical, is magnified by an internal Cyclops eye. This is not like the Rolex Cyclops eye. It doesn't project above the sapphire, so there's no danger of it getting knocked off. Also, it doesn't block a cuff if you are trying to wear this one with long sleeves. It's worth a try, but the bottom line is that it's artfully integrated with the sunken interior Cyclops eye, and critically, a date wheel that matches the tone of the anthracite dial. That could easily have become an afterthought that would have killed the watch. Had this been white, had this been a contrasting color, or even a plain black, it simply would not have worked in this composition, but it preserves the integrity of this look that Panerai has created, and the skeleton hands are just the icing on the cake. Now the movement is a COSC chronometer spec Panerai OP3. Based on the bulletproof automatic winding Valjoux 7750, you get a watch that is a certified chronometer that features hacking stop seconds. You can watch the small second subdial at 9 o'clock. So now the second stop, I can synchronize the watch precisely. Since this is a rotating bezel dive watch, you can see how easily you can set the hands. Another advantage, no screw down crown with the Panerai locking lever, but you can use the rotating dive bezel to time short intervals up to 60 minutes. And because this is a dive watch with hacking seconds, you and a diving buddy can synchronize your watches, or you can set both your watches to a reliable reference time, such as an atomic clock or a surface dive clock if someone's monitoring you on the radio. So the movement, in addition to being automatic winding, having set it and forget it capability, a jump date, 42-hour power reserve, it allows easy synchronization for diving purposes. And of course, because this is a dive watch, 300-meter water resistance, that's 1,000 feet, and this ISO 6425 compliant unidirectional loomed rotating and calibrated dive bezel, it is after all still a Luminor submersible. So you get a tough movement, a unique look, a comfortable and distinctive bracelet, and a Panerai Luminor that is anything but another face in the crowd. Again, this one is not a candidate for the next Where's Waldo series. It sticks out, but not like a sore thumb, rather like a industrial techno-metallic gem. I don't know how to describe this watch other than to say it's singular in the Panerai continuity. It doesn't even look like the PAM 170, which is a high polish extroverts piece. This one's quietly confident and, dare I say it, an elegant rendition of the Panerai Luminor. This is the Panerai Luminor Submersible PAM 106.